Hey guys, this is Azerlyn with a quick review of Quantum Break. Quantum Break is a unique mix of a time manipulation third-person shooter game and a live-action show. After a catastrophic event involving a time machine occurs, time has become fractured, giving two people the power to manipulate time itself. You mainly play as the protagonist Jack Joyce, and you're trying to fix time before it's too late. You also play briefly as the antagonist, where you make 4 separate choices that directly change how the story is told. I found the story and the concept of how time works to be very interesting. The script is written extremely well, and watching how my decisions played out as a live show with such a phenomenal cast was really enjoyable. When I first started playing the game, I was a little concerned by the controller recommended notice on the store page. I played with the mouse and the keyboard anyway, and I originally thought that my thumb mouse buttons weren't supported because everything said null when I tried changing the key bindings. So I was a little annoyed at first, but then I realized that they do actually work, but it's just that all the prompts say null throughout the rest of the game. I love using time manipulation abilities in games, and Quantum Break is no exception. I enjoyed the combat very much. It's fun and fast-paced, but the combat is kind of easy. And it's very forgiving because you start regenerating extremely quickly. You can rush in and kill a bunch of enemies, and bail out to find cover if you start taking too much damage. You will also need to use these powers outside of combat as well to progress through some of the areas. There are upgrades for your abilities that let you use them more often and more effectively, and I like that you can find these upgrade points without having to go too much out of your way to find them. There are a lot of other collectibles too that give you more insight into the story if you want to take the time to explore more thoroughly. The character movement feels responsive, and my only gripe with the movement was that sometimes when I was trying to climb onto some objects, I wasn't able to. I would have to reposition myself or come at it from a different angle in order to climb up. The character also auto-crouches when you go near cover, so it took a little getting used to not being able to crouch manually. The music and the sound effects are done well. Most of the cinematics looked absolutely amazing. They really captured the actor's likeness and expressions incredibly well. There were some times during gameplay that I found the characters looked grainy around the edges. It was noticeable, but it certainly wasn't game-breaking. Also, I do wish there was a way to tone down the motion blur, or even turn it off completely. Even with the game running on an SSD, some of the load times were a lot slower than I would have liked. Performance-wise, the game is not optimized the greatest. On Ultra settings, I was getting 40 to 60 frames with the recommended GTX 970 with some periodic frame drops into the 30s. I lowered the settings to high instead and was getting about 50 to 60 frames consistently. After finishing the game with my original set of choices, I went back and made different decisions to see how the live show played out differently. Some parts of each episode were the same, but there were also several things that were changed as well, which in turn also affected the following chapters of gameplay slightly. The game took me about 9 to 9.5 hours or so, and I really enjoyed the gameplay as well as the show that's incorporated into the overall experience. Although I am already using Windows 10, I'm glad that they made the game compatible with Windows 7 and available on Steam. I really liked the game, and I wound up playing it the whole way through in one sitting. I recommend it to those who like time manipulation games combined with a well-told story-rich experience. Keep in mind though, the performance optimization needs some improvement, so even with the recommended GTX 970, don't expect a solid 60 frames per second on Ultra settings. I hope this review has helped you. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and post your feedback in the comments below. Thanks everyone, and have a wonderful day!